Wahiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Wahiguru Ji Ki Fateh. Let's talk about spirituality. I made a couple videos about Sikhi already, but I focused mostly on the ideology, a little bit about the history, about the goals and intentions. So today I want to talk about the actual spiritual practices, or more specifically, one particular spiritual practice which is really the foundation and which shows the universality and the functionality and anti-ritualism that Sikhi really is founded in, and that makes it so useful, really, for anybody who wants to engage with it. So this is the idea of Naam Japna. Now, Naam is the same root as the English word name. You might be able to guess that, but it has some additional connotations in Indic languages, in Sanskrit, Punjabi, etc. It also, in addition to name, it also means connection, and it also means this state of remembering connection to the whole universe, this feeling that enters through the top of the head and fills the whole body as we connect and recognize that we are part of everything. So the name of God is seen as actually equivalent to the entire contents of the universe. You can think of God almost like a vast Pokemon that by saying its own name created the universe, that all of the vibrations within the universe are actually part of the true name of God. But we can't really say that, right? We can't speak words that contain animals and planets and galaxies and all this, but we can say words that remind us of the concept of God. Now, in many languages, we have different words for this. For example, I might use the English word God, which comes from the Germanic, of course. But, you might have Muslims that are going to chant Allah. You might be talking about Jesus. Sikhs most often will say Vaheguru, which I opened and will close this video with. Waheguru really is the capacity of the universe to reveal itself to itself. Guru means teacher, but literally it's the light coming out of the darkness. Wa is just awe, like the awesome teacher. Waheguru, it's like the really great teacher, that's the universal teacher. So if I teach you something, that's not me, that's Waheguru. If you teach me something, which I'm sure you will, that's also Waheguru. Waheguru is present everywhere, through all corners of all levels of every galaxy, every planet, every domain, etc. There is nothing that is outside of Waheguru because we can learn from anything. So, Sikhs will often rise very early in the morning during the time called Amrit Vela, and they'll chant Waheguru, Waheguru. Maybe they'll sing it, maybe it can be slow, it can be fast, Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. And it can also be other words as well. Some of the early Sikhs would be saying Gobinda, 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 or Hare, 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 or Ram, 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 Ram. It doesn't really matter. The point is connection. The point is remembering that we are all part of the universe, that we are fully connected. And it's through this repetition, through this chanting, that we cultivate this state of mind in which we have this recollection, because we're understood as living within an era called the Kaljug, which is aka the Kali Yuga, which is basically an age of ignorance in which we've forgotten what we really are. And because of that, that's why what's called the five thieves, which includes lust, attachment, pride, greed, etc., these things consume us. They go beyond what we actually need in order to have satisfaction, and through seeking them single-mindedly without a recognition that we are all one, we end up hurting each other. Through pursuing lust too aggressively, we cause a lot of problems. I think a lot of people can recognize this. So this is all very relatable and simple concepts. But the idea in Sikhi is that if we just remember what we are, if we just cultivate this awareness that we all come from the same place and that we are all one, then we can relinquish a little bit of that. We can bring these forces into control. That doesn't mean we have to be chaste. It just means that our lust isn't going to consume us and cause us to do evil, wrong things by taking it too far. So, again, you can say any word, whatever works for you, but the idea is just to rise during the morning, although it doesn't need to be during the morning. There's no special time in Sikhi. Everything, all times are perfect, right? There's no one sacred day, one sacred hour, one sacred location, because everything is equally part of the name of God. So you can even remember the name of God simply through remembering that the things that you're already looking at and the things that you're already saying are actually part of the name of God. So that's a profound concept, but again, it's a really simple practice, and it's a practice that's universal. It's a practice that doesn't require you to have specialized knowledge, to perform all sorts of rituals, because in Sikhi you say that, like, look, you don't need to fast, you don't need to go on pilgrimages, you don't need to do ritual bathing and all of these things that people for so many centuries have thought, well, maybe God will love me if I just do X, Y, and Z. Well, God already loves you. You are already our God. All you need to do is remember. So all these rituals and all of these particulars, or this idea that you need a priest to intercede for you, that's all nonsense. All of that is superstition, which gets in the way of remembering that you already are God, that you at least are part of God, that you can connect, and that you can be part of this the same as everybody else. Now, as the practices go on, there is more to it than just chanting the name of God. Usually that's done first, and then a whole lot of poetry will be recited called the Naam. I'm personally working on memorizing the first poem, the Naam, the Japji Sahib, and I'll show you what I actually have written out here, because I wrote it quite small so I can fit it in my pocket and I can read this when I want. But you can see just how long this poem is. It takes about 20 minutes to recite, or half an hour if you do it a bit more slowly. And that's not all of the Nitnem. That's not all of the poetry that we're supposed to do every day. That's just the first poem. So that can be really daunting, especially if you don't speak Punjabi, you don't speak any of the other languages that this is based on. It has some Arabic, it has some Sanskrit, it has some other languages in it, a bit of Farsi, etc. But if you don't speak any of that, it's like, well, here's this mountain of text. I can't possibly learn all of that, or at least not quickly. But you can learn one word, or you probably already know at least one word. You need one word that reminds you of what God is, of what you are, and that's simply through saying that word, you can cultivate that awareness and that connection and return to this place of connection. And if enough people do that, maybe we can end the era of ignorance, and maybe we can create a world in which it will work for everybody, in which nobody is going to be persecuted, nobody's going to be cast out. Those people over there are separate from us. No, we shouldn't have any separation. We shouldn't allow persecution. We shouldn't allow people to go without their basic necessities. We should provide for everybody, and we should remember that anytime that we're helping anybody else, we're also helping God. And simply through chanting any of these names, Hari Hari, Govinda Govinda, Allah, Jesus, whatever it is, whatever works for you, that reminds you and allows you to connect. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.